So kia ora everyone, welcome to the November 40-minute Guru session with Sharp Canaan Limited. So I'm Bex Langton and I'm coming from you live from the wet and foggy Taranaki coast. So thanks for taking the time today to join us. And today's presentation is Creative Uses for Google Slides. Okay, so today I'm going to be taking you through some of the creative ways that I've used Google Slides, both in the classroom and as a facilitator. Now, some of these aspects may be things that you already know how to do, and some may be new, but hopefully there's something for everyone in today's presentation. So Google Slides is often referred to as the Swiss Army knife of G Suite tools, and I thought that that analogy was quite apt, as there's so many things that you can actually do with this tool. So some of the things we're covering today on the screen here. So we're going to show you how to customize the size of your page, look at the drawing tools, look at some cartoon or comic templates, look how to create ebooks and audio for ebooks, looking at animations and clickable choice boards, which were really popular over COVID, linking to slides within the presentation so you can make games and quizzes, and also pick-a-path stories, which are pretty popular for reluctant writers. I'm going to show you how you can use Google Slides to create an app, and also look at some of the more traditional ways that you may have used Google Slides with comprehension tasks based on texts, looking at digital sticker books, and also showing you places that you can get Google Slide templates to download and use for yourself. I must apologise for my cough. I'm COVID free. I don't think you can catch it through the screen. Just got a bit of asthma at the moment, so bear with me. Okay, so if you've ever printed from Google Slides, and I know that most people have had some experience with this, you'll find that if you print it in the default size, you end up getting a rather wide blank margin and it doesn't look good on the paper. And that's simply because Google Slides is ultimately a presentation tool. So its default settings is for projection on projectors or TVs. But because Google Slides is such a great tool for uploading photos and images and for easily formatting them on the page, it would make sense to be able to change the size of the paper. And you can do exactly that. So if you go into the File menu and go all the way down to Page Setup, click on that, you'll see it will come up as the default size of widescreen. And all you need to do is click on the drop-down arrow, choose Custom, and then you can change the size there. So you do have the option of changing into centimeters and pixels as well, but I've memorized the size in inches for A4 landscape. And of course, if you just flip those around, then you can have it for A4 portrait. And once you print, it's perfectly aligned for your A4 page. So where is this helpful? This is helpful. A lot of schools are starting to use Google Slides for publishing their school newsletters. And the good thing about that is it's because you can share them collaboratively with teachers, excuse me, so that they can contribute as they go, and then the administrative person just spends time aligning things and making it look pretty at the end. So it's a good way to efficiently create content. So here's some examples here. We've got a newsletter on the left. I've also used it for creating a school charter. So you end up downloading it as a PDF. You can use it to create your own worksheets as well. And the good thing about that is once you've created them, you can share them digitally to save paper, or you can indeed easily print them out. And some schools have used them to create report templates as well. And again, they're easily shareable through your G Suite. Okay, so another pretty cool tool in Google Slides is the shape tool. So as a part of the digital technology curriculum, one of the aspects in their designing and developing digital outcomes is for students and teachers, of course, to create their own digital content, such as images. So one way you can do that is in Google Slides using the shape tool. And this is pretty cool to create your own characters, objects, or scenes using the shape function. So again, at the top of your toolbar, you can see that I've highlighted insert and you can find shapes. There's also a shortcut button for finding shapes. And within shapes, you've got shapes, arrows, callouts, and equations. So this character here, I've created simply using the shapes function, the free drawing tools, and use the paint can fill section. The speech bubble there is a call out, and I've just written some text in there. So the cool thing about using the shapes tool is that you learn to use a whole lot of other functions on Google Slides, such as the arrange function, where you can order shapes to front and back, so you get layers upon layers, and that's a hard concept initially for students to understand, but once they get the hang of it, it's really, really an effective tool. The other aspect is to group all of the images. So if I wanted to group that entire character, I could simply run the cursor over all of the shapes and that would automatically group them, or I could click them individually to group them, and then I can resize the whole character. So for younger students, you could help them to create a character by having a whole lot of eyes here, mouths, arms, legs, etc. And they simply drag and drop them across to a body shape, and they can build up their own character that way. So that they're learning essentially how to group, how to copy and paste, and how to use the arrange tool to send things forward and backwards. Okay, another aspect around Google Slides, which is pretty cool, is inserting, of course, your own word art. So in the function tools again, insert, you can go to word art and you can add your creative flair to your text and your fonts. So if you go into Google Slides and your default screen, you have quite limited fonts. So you can simply go into your font selection, choose more fonts, and a whole lot of different fonts will come up. And you can simply select them, and then they will be added to your bank of fonts available to you. So if you insert word art, you can then click on the font to change the style. But if you go into the color fill and choose gradient and custom, you can make your own rainbow colors. So I've done this rainbow color simply by selecting a whole lot of different colors, and this is a radial orientation, so that it looks, if you had it in a full word, you'd see a whole circle rainbow effect. So students absolutely love word art, and they can get quite creative. It's important to remember to teach them the skill so that they can use it efficiently rather than sitting there playing with the pretty stuff all the time. Another way of getting cool text is to go to outside sites such as Text Giraffe, and I've put the link to that site down there, and you can then copy and paste different text styles across to your Google Slides. So if you look in the middle of that slide, you'll see the Explore explosion. So that's one that I've got from Text Giraffe. So all you do with Text Giraffe is click on the link, and you can type in any word. So you can type in your own name or any word that you want, and then choose the style to bring across. Okay, so one of the fun and creative ways of using Google Slides is to create your own comic book template. So you can create a master template, which I've done on the left there, and you can print that out for your students to draw on non-digitally, or you could also share it with them through Google Classroom, and they can create their own digital graphics and add them to that digitally shared template. So there's just some different examples of different template shapes of comics there. And you can also use the background search tool and the Explore search tool within Google Slides to find your own free images with transparent backgrounds. But of course, we are encouraging our students to create their own images. So you can use sites such as Bitmoji or Snapchat or DoppelMe. DoppelMe is a safe one for kids to create their own avatars that they can bring into their comic books. Another really useful site is Remove Background, which the site link is there. So you can take an image, drop it into Remove Background, and it will actually take the background away from the image, which you can then use in your template. So on the next page here is an example of a comic book that I've made simply with that master sheet. I've put in a background image of space and I've added in some themed Bitmojis and some fun text there. Okay, so some of you may have used Book Creator before, and you can in fact do exactly the same thing in Google Slides. So this is how to create an ebook. So each slide becomes a page in the book, and you can add images and texts from experiences that the kids have, or by giving them the responsibility to take their own photos within the classroom environment to use in their stories. The good thing about using Google Slides to create ebooks is you can share them collaboratively. So each child could have a page in the book, and they're all contributing to the same document. A bit like sharing your library through Book Creator. So once you've finished creating your book, you have got the option to publish it. So you can download it as a PDF and print it, bind it, have it on your classroom bookshelf, or you could also share that digitally. Another way of sharing it digitally is to go to File and choose Publish to the Web. And when you do this, you can actually allocate time for each of the slides. So you can set it for 5 seconds, 7 seconds, whatever, and then it would automatically flip to the next slide. So the cool thing about that is you can just copy a link and then share that link with parents through Seesaw or through an email, so that then they can access that book as well. So building on from ebooks is the fact that you can also add audio to Google Slides. And this is a really cool function about Google Slides because it's really easy to add audio. And one way that you can do that is by using an online voice recorder. And I've put the link for that one there as well. And simply go on, record. You can clip the file pretty crudely, but then you can upload it to your drive. And once it's in your drive, you can access it to add to your Google Slides. Or in Screencastify, you do have the option of downloading the audio only, and it will download as an MP3 file. So Screencastify is a Chrome extension that you can add to Google Slides as well. So to insert an audio, all you do is go to Insert Audio, and your recent files will show up in your drive, and you simply select the file that you want to add. Now, the cool thing about adding audio is that it automatically adds a little audio icon onto your Google slide, and you can see that in the picture on the right. And if you click on that and highlight it with the blue show lines around it, you can then actually format that as well. So you can format the audio to play instantly as soon as you present it, and you can also get the audio to stop playing when you change the slides. So if a student wants to flick quickly through a book, it's not going to play the audio in the wrong order. So that's an awesome aspect of adding audio. Okay, So another really cool, fun activity that utilises a lot of the tools that I've mentioned earlier is creating stop motion animations through Google Slides. So students can create an object or a character using the shape tool. They need to group the shape. They need to use the arrange tool and align things. And then they can duplicate slides. As they duplicate the slide, it will put the image in exactly the same place, and then they can slightly change the orientation or aspects of the character to, once you play it, make it look like it's moving. So the finer the alteration, the more effective the animation is. So think back to when you were a kid and you were making little flip books in the corner of your page and you're doing little drawings and then flicking through the books really quickly to make it move. So this is the same principle in a digital manner. So once you're happy with your presentations, again, you can go to File and Publish to the web, and you can change the auto advance time limit for the slides so that it clicks through really quickly. You can also put it on loop, so it just keeps playing and playing. So I've just got a little animation here to show you, but I'm just going to present it simply by flicking through the Google Slides really quickly. So here's my robot animation. Okay, so you can see it was pretty crude. I'll just show you again. Probably crude in nature and crude in drawing, but yeah, it's just a really effective way of capturing student imagination. So I've actually done that activity in a class, and it was awesome to see what they came up with. And unfortunately, there was lots of blood and gore and heads coming off and all sorts of things, but it was fantastic. Okay, so the next lot here is, as I mentioned earlier, a aspect of Google Slides that became really popular over lockdown, and that was Bitmoji clickable scenes. So I'm sure if I had the audio on, I'd hear you all going, ugh, groan. Yes, because they were everywhere. They bombarded the net. And so, of course, I had to jump forward as well to see what they were all about and see how we could use them. So this is an example of a scene here. I've just taken a screenshot of it with the links visible so you can see what the idea behind it is. So I've created a Bitmoji of myself, added in a background, added in a whole lot of images with transparent backgrounds, and then I've linked in sites to different objects within that scene. So the pencil container there links to an auto draw program that the students can use. The dice, which I've covered up a little bit there with Pig PDF, is a link to a maths game. If you click on the plant, it would show you a video on how does a seed become a plant, and the clock up the top would link you to a math learning centre activity. The TV has a video of sheep that would play, and believe it or not, I've also inserted an audio in there to hear me playing the saxophone. So it's quite a cool way to hide work or different activities for students to engage in. So the idea would be that they would do like a scavenger hunt, find where the links were, complete the activity, and that kept them happy and busy for the day. So once you've created this scene in Google Slides, you can just simply download it as a PDF, or again, publish it to the web. So either way, the links will stay live. You can then also share this through Google Classroom or Seesaw as well. Okay, so here's some different Bitmoji scenes that I've created. So once you've got a library of these, you could just have them and click and add different ideas. You could put a daily timetable on the screen there on the board. You could add in different characters. Yeah, all sorts of different things. Good poster there, trust me, I'm a science teacher. So yeah, can have a lot of fun. Good way to teach children about perspective, like finding this corner room, you know, having to find windows on angles and desks on angles to actually look right in the scene. So it can be a good way for students to create their own scenes as well. Okay, so this maths escape room follows a similar idea, but rather than having links to external sites, we've got links within the Google Slides. So the big picture on the left, you'll see that if you look carefully, there is a whole lot of keys that are hidden within the scene. So the idea is that the students would click on a key and it would take them to a Google slide with a maths question on it. And a couple of examples of those questions are there to the right. So the word problem would be there. They would solve it. And then the bottom right slide is like a code cracker. So it has the answers that all relate to a different letter. And once they've answered all the questions, then they will crack the code to escape from the room. And here's a different one in a different context. So this is a science lab one with the periodic table. So again, you've got the quiz template for the students to write their answers on, and then examples of different slides there. They do take a long time to make, but once you've got them, they're quite fun. I just looked in that picture and realized that the measuring cylinder is off the shelf, but that could be a lead into anti-gravity practices. Okay, right. So following on from that same idea with links within slides, you can create your own games and quizzes using Google Slides. So when you go to add an external link, you can choose on the left-hand side, I've got text and link where you could paste the link to an outside site. If you click on the drop-down arrow in that section, you will see slides in this presentation, and you can choose the next slide, the previous slide, slide 10, whatever slide you want to link to. So this Jeopardy board, the idea is that students will choose topic 3, question $300. They'd click on that. That would link them to a question. They could then write their question, click to see the answer, and then return back home to the Jeopardy board. So it's all links within links. The Jeopardy board is quite full on, and lucky for you that it's available as a free template. And I've put at the end of the presentation where you can get that from. Okay, so this is more of a simple link within slides quiz. So on the left-hand side, which animal is it? So each of those buttons, A, B, and C, become live. So the question is, do you know which one is the lion? If they click on A, they would get it incorrect. So it would take them to the oops page, try again. That will take them back to the question. Then they can click on C, that's a lion, yes, and then play another game. So it's a really simple interactive quiz. Okay, getting a little bit more intense now is links using the same concept, links within slides, but students create their own pick-a-path stories. So the old days, well, maybe not so long ago, used to have pick-a-path stories were pretty popular, where you would come to a part in the text and you would have a choice to do one thing or to do the other, and one path might lead you to your doom and the other path would let you continue to go through the story. So I've seen this being used in a class, and I've got a couple of examples there. The wolf one is examples from a class that we're doing it the other day. So what they used was Mind Map, or Mindomo is another brainstorming tool to help plan their story. So that's an example of one of these stories that was planned. So it's pretty in-depth, and the teacher was doing it for computational thinking, so using the new digital technology curriculum. Pen and paper is a really valid place to start, especially if you just want to introduce the concept and get it pretty simple. So the idea behind it, the first question over there, will you be the wolf or the pig? So you'd choose the wolf, and then it would take you to the next slide and give you a bit of an introduction about life as a wolf. what do you want to do? Do you want to go out and get food, stay safe at home? So again, there's a whole lot of choices there. If you chose pig, it would take you to a whole lot of different choices. So reluctant writers absolutely love pick a path stories, but they can be quite complex in the planning. So just be mindful of that. Okay, another use of Google Slides is to create an app. So if you think about an app that you use on your phone, virtually when you click on a button, you're creating a hotspot or a link to something else. So you can use the link within Slides as in the same concept. So in this particular example, a lot of skills that you've used before. So I've inserted a background image of a phone, and then I have created the snack app image in Google Slides. Now, the cool thing about Google Slides is you can download each of your Google Slides as a JPEG file as well. So then it ultimately becomes a photo, which you can then upload into different outside apps. So in this case, I've created the snack app page, and if you click on the carrot, it would link you to the next slide. So are you looking for a healthy snack? Click on the carrot to choose an option. So the next slide is, what do you want? Do you want to choose from fruit, vegetables, or nuts? So if you click on the fruit bowl, it takes you down to the next slide. So then the fruit, banana, apple, grapes, or orange, click the banana, and it takes you to show you how many calories the banana has. So this is a probably more simple version of the pick a path story, and it could be a good place to start for students to get that whole concept of clicking to the next slide and back again. So if you notice on the second slide, what do you want? There's the fruit bowl, the veggies, the seeds, but there's a little house icon. So if you click on the house icon, it will take you back to that main page again. So there's a really cool outside site that you can use, which is called Envision. And you can use that for free, and it creates an app using images that you've created in Google Slide. And the cool thing about Envision is that you can actually share it to your cell phone, and it will come as a link for you to try out the app on your phone. So students love that. And it's free, even better. Okay, so at Shark Canane, we're renowned for our quality integrated resources, and a lot of those we make using Crown copyright text, so the ready to reads in school journals. So we create these comprehension tasks and activities using Google Slides, so they become a digital workbook for students. And so when we share them through Google Classroom or Hapara or the link through Seesaw, students can then write in these and put all of their work in a one-stop shop. So these are some examples here of ones that we've made. You can use choice boards, so where students get a whole lot of activities with links and they can respond to one of those. We've got text with different learning intentions. So we try to create integrated resources that cover a lot of areas of the curriculum, and those are there as well. So looking inside some of those documents, this is how we set them up in Google Slides. So we have a copy of the text, which is especially important in schools where there aren't enough copies for everybody. And using the table function, we put in some questions with a space for students to respond. Again, if you are changing the settings, the page setting size, you could set these up in A4 and use them to print them out as worksheets, but it's quite cool to do it digitally as well. Okay, here's another example and another example. So encouraging students to link in their own tally charts or photos or things that they do in response to that activity as well. So down the bottom, you'll see I've put add tutorials in the speaker notes. So speaker notes in Google Slides are really useful, and you can create tutorials or links to videos there, and that's great for flipped learning, so students can front load before coming to work with you as a teacher in a workshop. Okay, So digital sticker books is another creative way of using Google Slides. So you can create a sticker chart template, which is the large template there, download it again as a JPEG, upload it into Seesaw or into Google Keep. And then the one on the left-hand side with the effort, that one has been a full slide, which I've downloaded as a JPEG. And again, you can then drop it into your template, resize it, and you can write comments in that box as well, just to keep students on task with a little bit of an extrinsic reward. So that's another idea for using slides. Okay, Google Slides in itself has a whole lot of built-in themes that you can choose from, but you can also upload some really cool themes from other sites to use as well. So Slides Carnival is a site that I use quite often because it's free and there's no limit to the slides that you download. And all you do is simply click on the one you like, go to preview and download it. And then you can choose use as a Google Slides theme and then use the template, and it will save into your Google Drive. But of course, as good digital citizens, we would acknowledge the source of our template, and there is a credit slide at the end that you can include in your Google Slide presentation. Okay, so finally, here are some websites with some awesome Google Slide free theme templates that you can download. So the Jeopardy one that I showed you earlier, if you simply type in Jeopardy 6-topic template, then that will come up and it will prompt you to make a copy of it and download it to your drive. ShakeUpLearning.com has some cool newsletters and activities there. So that one I've got is like the magnetic poetry aspects, where students can click and drag and drop different words that they've got there to create a poem about winter. The Build a Snowman one is has a whole lot of eyes and mouths and hair, and a snowman template, so students can drag and drop different eyes and create their own character. Slidesmania.com has some cool activities as well. So that one, there's a game template, and the little video in the center of that is of a dice that just rolls through. When you click on it, it stops, and then you can move your counters, the number of spaces. And Slides Go is quite cool as well, but if you don't sign up to Slides Go, there is a limitation on the number of free downloads that you can access. Okay, so that is a really quick introduction into the uses of Google Slides and being creative with them. And if there are some aspects there that you have found really interesting, then please, follow them up. And don't forget that Shark Canane Limited is available to provide digital fluency and digital technology PD through centrally funded, through the ministry, and we can help you apply for that. So there you go. Thank you, and I hope you got something out of it.
I just want to add one thing. Your metric, your metric for the A4 size. If anybody wants to know what the metric size, not the imperial size is, it's 21 centimeters by 29.7.
There you go. So the Englishman's telling us metrics. They're not using the imperial system. Brilliant.
Yeah, well done. Well done.
Oh, good.